Just hadn't seen you guys in a while. I was getting depressed. Gotta see some happy people.
Outstanding things, Rick?
No, nothing, just the normal.
All those in favor? Aye. So moved. City Finance Officer.
So Ann is absent today. They're doing inventory over to the liquor store. She did send me that as of 5 p.m. We had 17 shut-offs still. Generally, we'll see those reduce. A lot of them will come in yet this morning. We don't get the actual shut-off list till around 10, so we're hopeful that the girls will do another wonderful job. Girls and I can't say girls anymore. That the finance crew, because we have Dylan in there, does a great job, and that will probably be reduced down to just a handful. So today is shut-off day. So she did want me to let you guys know that. We did get I guess I'll just give a quick brief on the, we are into 2026 and starting over with the new budget. So we don't really have any budget constraints at the moment. The city council did at the last meeting adopt and approve the resolution adopting the 2026 utility rates, and they did approve those based off of the recommendation that the MUB set forth back in October. So there were no changes to that. And just to refresh your memory, and for those folks online, we didn't see a increase in any of our base rates in the water. Along with keeping the base rate at the same, we included the 2,000 gallons, and then we increased the per 1,000 gallon fee after that to $3.25 for residential and $3.50 per 1,000 for commercial, respectively. Sewer, we didn't change any of the rates. However, if you recall, we did discover a discrepancy in the billing where it hadn't been billed correctly in the commercial accounts. That's been corrected. So moving forward in 2026, commercial sewer accounts will be correctly billed. We're not going to go back and reassess anybody. This will just be starting from January 1st moving forward. They'll be corrected. And then in the sanitation, there were no changes in that one. No changes in the availability or in the surcharges at this time. One of the things that I did mention to the council, and I've had a few questions on, was like, geez, when we go to availability fee, our bill is more than the monthly. And the reason that has happened is over the past several years, I think I forget that, I should have looked up the dates. Roughly 4 years ago, we across the board did a utility base rate decrease. When we did that, we decreased the base rates, but the council didn't do anything with the availability fee. And then the more recent, our well number 8 SRF, that had a $5 and some odd cent surcharge, so they again lowered the base rate by that same amount, so it was a net zero cost to the customers. Well, in doing that, you've now got the base rate so low that your availability fee is up really again where it should be. It wasn't taken into account, so in some instances you are paying more to go on availability than what you would pay to just leave your account active, and that's something that we'll look at in the future. Again, I'm not saying that the availability needs to be lowered. It's probably right where it needs to be. The council has taken some actions that has lowered the base rates to a point where they're below that threshold. So if anybody has any questions about that, I can go into some more detail on it, or just wanted to kind of bring that to everybody's attention.
Have you heard any complaints since the council's action?
No, but that was just Monday night.
Okay.
So,
And
and we haven't, I mean, this will be the first cycle coming up. I mean, you know, because your billing is a month behind. So that's why we have a little bit of time, the first part of the year, to get the resolution done. I mean, those bills haven't gone out yet. They will just be getting ready to go out.
regarding these, the potential for shut-offs that would happen today, Todd, is there a concern on the timing of the year, frozen pipes? Would there be reasonableness in delaying shut-offs at this time of year?
No. I mean, that we've got a pretty long history and track record. I mean, every January, February, March, I mean, this happens every month. I mean, the only time we've made some exceptions is when a shut-off falls like today and Christmas is tomorrow, or Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We've delayed it to the following week. But as far as cold, I mean, you have just as much chance of freezing a line on or off. I mean, that really doesn't come into effect on a line freeze. I mean, more of the lines freezing are conditions in the home, and typically like what we see is manufactured homes where they don't have a lot of insulation. I mean, is what freezes them up. I mean, it really doesn't have anything with I mean, it's harder on the guys to be out when it's 20 below, but.
One of the times, maybe we've done it twice since I've been here, there's been a blizzard type situation where first of all, we were called to plow snow, which tends to be more important, and just trying to find curb stops on shut-off day under 3 foot of
Yeah.
snow. It's to our benefit to delay till we have a better time frame. I mean, that would be the only other example I can come up with.
So this is sort of the usual number, the usual.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you know, keep in mind that in order to get on the shut-off list and specifically to be where we're shutting you off, you're at least 3 months. So again, shouldn't be a big surprise to anybody. I mean, this is 3 months of us contacting you and trying to get you current, and you know, you have the ability to call the finance, and they'll set up a payment plan, work with you to try and get you to where you need to be to avoid. I mean, in my mind, the finance office goes above and beyond in their efforts to try and get that list down. I mean, they would like to get it down to 0, and we would too, but unfortunately, that's just not the case.
Just on what you just said, Rick, does the city make a reminder that that's available?
Yes, when they're on that list to begin with and the phone calls are being made, they're given every opportunity to like I said, the team in the finance office works with them to try and take payments, get caught up as much as they can. I've personally witnessed that they bend over backwards to try. I mean, the end of the day, there's just some that we can't.
It
Can't
might be good
accommodate.
Public relations to have, beyond just the phone call availability, have a reminder maybe in the news media that, that families or individuals could consider setting up something ahead of time, so at this time of year, they don't have to struggle with that kind of thing.
They give them resources. There are some resources within the community that can help out with getting them current. I mean,
Just a gentle reminder that, as far as the general public, that would make, especially with a recent utility bill, that would make the council look good.
Any customer concerns?
well, the only one, and not that we necessarily had any customer concerns, we did have the bulk water, waterman was down for about a week. Had nothing to do with the mechanical side of it. Our credit card processing company sold and went into the name of another company, and we didn't get the notification, so we were behind a little bit in getting everything set up, and have since got that resolved. And again, finance office did a great job of getting that resolved. A lot of hours and frustrations were spent on hold and on the phone, along with Todd, but we were able to get that ship righted, and I'm happy to say that if you need bulk water, come on down and get it. And for those people that do haul water, that's a pretty big deal.
Water superintendent report.
Oh, I forgot those spin. Good morning. Today I intend to go test their 6 inches.
So, and just for a little bit of clarification, our older model didn't have that, and that would then require Todd and his staff to take hand notes. This one has built-in GPS, so it's automatically saving that data, marking it. It's easier for them to go out and remark in the same spot. And then again, it has the ability to shoot this. Everything is going to the cloud. This new locator will shoot these mapped lines right to the cloud, and then we can integrate that with our current GIS and have that stuff show up. So it is several times over a great thing, and will help for the future in ensuring that we know where these lines are. I mean, we can even take the shots on when we're installing new lines. So our accuracy and our effectiveness and is greatly enhanced for future locates that we don't even know we need to do yet. So just completely different. I mean, your old locator was probably, what, 20 years old?
Yes.
So the technology, the advances in technology are just incredible.
Yeah, you can call them bells and whistles, but this one does things that weren't invented.
And you'll see that on our claims next month, when we pay. I mean, it's about a $15,000 piece of equipment, but again, had the resources, and Todd had the mind to know that we needed to replace that piece of equipment. We got it in the budget, and that's, you know, that's how that process should work, so good job.
Angle that over time, the weak spot developed on top, and it finally leaked. And this is one of our, this is modern, this is only 22 years old.
Is that one from Vernon Heights?
Yes. So this is, when we say we're out on installs, inspecting things, this is what we're looking for, make sure that we don't have kinks. And this, so on this particular one, it's live the whole time, right? So we go back here and we've got a crimper, and it smashes the copper pipe so that the water is off 90-some percent. And then we freeze it. On the back side of that, we've got a nitrous bottles that freeze that line, then we cut this out, and then we can splice one in without ever shutting the water off.
In the main line,
In the
so,
main line.
so you've got the main line and then these service lines tee into that. When Todd talks about the curb stops, think that that's in the ground 5 feet, and then there's a pipe sitting on top of it that comes up to generally the sidewalk. That cap unscrews and you're putting a wrench all the way down that pipe, trying to get it on this to spin it. And so it's very important that those, when they get installed, they're plumb. I mean, a lot of things can happen. If they're like this, it's very hard to get on that, and
Portion of our inspection.
How do you even have an instance that wanna look deep in the ground for this kind of a problem?
Well, this one surfaced.
the water usually, so water will find the path of least, and it's not always, we don't always get lucky. Like those, we kinda know, this is how many of those have we replaced on that street?
And this is like 4.
We've got an idea, but you're exactly right, Tom. I mean, the water may surface over there and the leak could be here. A lot of times, we do start, I mean, we make the best educated guess on where we think the probability of the leak is and start digging, and then we have to chase it till I mean, the water will tell you as you're digging which direction it's coming from.
Todd, is there technology that can assess flow differences? That would tell you that, uh-oh, we might have a leak here, but back here we were okay, and then
Yes, we can go to the rural water and we've had mixed results.
In-house ourselves, if I was concerned about this house having a leak, I would hook a pressure gauge to their hose bib, and you will lose pressure because of the leak. I'll go to a neighbor's and compare. If the neighbor is at 70 and they're at 50, I know there's a problem. I mean, there's a lot of, it doesn't have to be high-tech in this situation. Here, when the water's coming out, it's real low-tech. You put your key on it, and you shut it off.
You can listen a lot of times.
Yes, and so if the water stops, I know it's on this side of the curb stop. If the water keeps coming out, I know I'm from here to the main. And then you stick your ear on the key that's on this, you can hear it. We also have a listening device, so if I can barely hear it, I will chase back with our listening device. If it's roaring here, I know I'm close. And usually when the water surfaces, you can see the threads there. Our curb box, that's what goes to the surface with a cap on it, is right here. That's gonna be, if the leak is very close to that, that's your path of least restriction. It should surface, follow that up because it's not compacted clay.
you're showing us a copper pipe, are you replacing it with a PVC kind of a thing?
In this instance, we don't, there are times we do put in the SIDR seven specifically. That's in our specs, I gotta bring that up. And we either have copper or SIDR seven poly pipe in our specs. So more often than not, I like to use similar materials. The inside OD is the same as the outside OD. So when you start getting compression fittings with different sizes, which I carry them in inventory because we do need them, they're more expensive. A straight through of the same kind is less expensive when we need it. We're talking $5, $15, but anytime we could save, it's good. On all new construction, it's almost all SIDR seven because it is the less expensive material.
The new PVC kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So if this is copper, then how do you get a new stuff to seal at the site where you're replacing the leak, say upstream? How do you seal that? Do you have a sleeve, do you have a?
So it's a compression fitting. So this is a compression curb stop. This nut, if I were to take it off, there is, on copper, there's a little steel ring that slides together that bites, and it's embedded in rubber. So as you tighten this, it pushes that rubber, and that's your seal. It's a compression seal. Basically an old mechanical seal type of situation.
We-
So
Every time we do one of those, we increase the opportunity for future leaks. I mean, anytime you have a mechanical fitting, we wanna have as long a runs of continuous pipe as possible with the least amount of mechanical, even in our mains, everywhere. So sometimes we can't do that.
So you're talking about where that screw is, I'm talking about upstream.
oh, to see if there's
When you
another
crimp-
leak.
Let's say you've now got a
Oh.
crimper on it and you bent that copper, how do you re-expand it?
Well, you can, first of all, there is a
So
tool, but we
expander.
freeze it, so it's round. We go upstream from that. So you can't freeze the water if it's flowing, okay?
Right.
Our machine just can't get that cold, so we crimp it to eliminate the flow. You freeze it further back here, then we cut it, and we do have to splice there. So we splice here with a one continuous run to our other pipe, including this.
So at the splice junction, how do you get that to seal?
It's one of these without a curb stop. It's a compression fitting
Okay.
with two nuts.
Have you ever heard or seen those, they refer to them as shark bite fittings? Which is like if you had a leak in your house, that's probably what you would use. They're just a mechanical
But
compression.
You're not using heat and
We're not soldering
Copy,
anything.
not soldering.
No. I will try to remember next month to bring you a couple of examples, so it makes,
I just,
a visual helps a lot. It's exactly like this, but different.
so this can happen even if one is put in well, properly, but if the ground comes up, swells and moves it up and puts a torque on the,
It generally isn't gonna do that. This was just, I hate to say it, but very much improper installation.
The other thing that we see more on the mains, like what we had the other day on Nelly, is improper bedding, and it's not necessarily the soil's moving, but it's the pipe, that there's a microscopic movement in the pipe from moving that much volume. It's shaking. It's not shaking like you would visibly see it, but it moves, and when it sits on a rock, it eventually wears through. I mean, and that's generally what we see on our mains, is there's a hole and they're typically on the bottom where the pipe's sitting. It's sitting there moving enough over the years, it eventually wears through it. I mean, it's not that our pipes are rotting out. I mean, that's generally what we see is,
so do people ever ask you, why did this happen when you're out there in the field? So you can tell them this kind of thing?
Very seldom,
they're just happy to have water.
they're usually like, how long till I got water? That's the question I get. I very seldom have I had anyone ask me what went wrong. The times that I have, it's generally when they've had galvanized service lines, and they're like, why is this happening to me? This is my third leak. It's like, we need to replace.
So the other thing that's important is that curb stop. From the curb stop this way to the main is the city's responsibility. From the curb stop to the home is the homeowner's. I mean, that's the key part right there, is that curb stop that divides whose responsibility to fix the leak is.
You know, in the news, we saw this huge, unusual freeze into the south.
And
And there was a comment made that, I heard on the news, I got the idea that supplies for this kind of thing could be hard to get because of all the water lines that are gonna break down south now. And so that they needed supplies down there to fix things, so it made the supply line or sources momentarily hard to get.
Yeah.
We have plenty of inventory.
I'm sitting on inventory short of,
Those are pretty short-lived, Tom, and we see that even in trying to get ice salt, road salt for winter, and when we see something like that, there's a big shift, but it's pretty momentarily. I mean, it's usually only a couple of weeks. They just divert, instead of coming up here with the stuff, it's diverted to there for a week or two, and the problem in those climates that are generally, I mean, they're not burying their line. I mean, we're burying our lines 5 feet so that we're below the frost. Theirs are very shallow.
Now I'm recalling where this came from. It was the water sprinkler systems.
Yeah,
Because they don't drain.
they don't blow them out, right?
And then they freeze, and then they break, and then,
Yep.
yeah, that's the rough.
And even their drinking water lines are very shallow. I mean, they're just, there's no need generally to bury them that deep because they don't get frost.
What kind of companies are the sources for this kind of thing? Are these US companies or?
yes, they're US companies and they supply US materials and foreign materials. Any of our funding we get that requires
Yeah.
BABA or whatever, we can source
BABA's
out.
Buy America, Build America. So when we do an SRF project, a lot of times it has a stipulation that it's American-made product.
One quick, this is type K copper, so when you're talking about the ground movement, this is flexible copper. That's why this is bent at that angle. It just, when they did that, they flattened it as well and didn't thread it on right, but this will handle movement as long as these are tight. The SIDR7 is also flexible, where the other water main breaks we have are rigid pipe. When the ground moves, it just pops, and it just is a circumferential break all the way around. So you either got improper bedding rattling a hole, or it just pops. Like a clean bone break, it just boom. So, there you go. You wanna hold it?
That's,
Oh, Todd.
that's impressive for you to bring stuff like that and show us that you appreciate that. And I don't know that the people really appreciate all the efforts and work and thoughtfulness that goes into maintaining our utilities out there. I wouldn't have thought of that.
I think probably one of the best things that we've done in recent years, and again, give new technology and getting caught up on the smart readers and the remote reads, is the ability that we now have, like Todd just said, we can go out and pretty much read the town in the day, and we can discover breaks and leaks and things before the homeowner may even know about it, or anomaly. I mean, we can be like, hey, there's something going, we don't know what it is, but you're getting an erratic reading that you've got a leaky toilet or something is going on, which starts that process of trying to troubleshoot it. Whereas even 5 years ago, we would get many more customers would be coming to the MUB going, hey, you know, we've got a $2,000 water bill because we had a leaking toilet that we didn't realize. And they don't see that until they get the bill, which is a month behind. Whereas now we're able to troubleshoot those things almost instantaneously, and we can, that bill that may have ended up being $2,000 maybe now is $100 or less because we have that ability. I think that's just phenomenal that we're able to do that.
That might be a good public relations story to get someone like Tim Potts or someone to make a story about it in the newspaper that shows some of this kind of thing going on. That might be pretty good.
One thing they do a pretty good job on Facebook also when they have water breaks showing the hole, sometimes showing what I've seen is looks like sleeves, particularly up on Nelly Street. And so that's pretty interesting stuff. It kind of shows what that fix looks like. You know, from a long-term perspective, and we're probably not unique here in the city of Sturgis, but all our infrastructure is aging. And, you know, one of the things that Kevin, our mayor, has been focusing on is that living within our means financially so we can build our reserves back up, not only in our general account, capital improvements and all our enterprise funds, including water, because we're going to have some major investments at some point in the future. You know, right now we've been putting Band-Aids on, particularly like Nelly Street as an example, of some rigid pipe, old infrastructure. I think how many breaks have we had just in the last year there? 3 maybe?
Yeah, at least
3 or 4. And so so at some point in probably, hopefully longer future, but mid-future, you know, those might end up being some significant projects for us, you know, to go in there, maybe redoing the streets, but more importantly, going underneath and working on the utilities. You know, we have the East Sherman, East Main. So those are things, you know, 5, maybe less than 5 years and beyond. And as we look at our strategic plan, our comprehensive plan, those are some infrastructure things that we need to consider. And just like any household, you know, if you want to purchase something that's expensive, you usually start saving before that purchase. And there's a combination of loans and other aspects of it that comes into play. But I think from City of Sturgis and probably any other community, you know, those are things that we have to consider and kind of put our headlights out a little bit farther and start preparing for those type of projects.
And that's a good point, Aaron, and you know, people don't always understand that is part of the evaluation that we do up front. And you know, it's like, well, how come you're not fixing my road? It's worse than this road that you're fixing over here. And sometimes we've looked at it, and that's one of the first things. I'm not going to put a new paved surface on a road knowing that we need to replace the water and sewer. I mean, that would be irresponsible because we're going to likely dig up our brand new road. We're going to destroy that paved surface. So when we look at even on our street projects, that's one of the considerations, or what are the condition of the lines underneath of the ground? What material are they? What are their age? What is the past history? I mean, all of that comes into play in even doing a street project, a pavement or an overlay or a chip and seal. We look at all of those things, and again, we want to pick the roads that aren't necessarily always the worst road. I mean, at some point in time, they're beyond putting a treatment on them, and they need what we call as total reconstruction, which is a total depth, replace water, sewer. But now all of a sudden, from going from a $500,000 project, it could go to several millions of dollars because we're replacing water, sewer, you know, pavement, maybe curb and gutter.
That's awesome, and when you mentioned Facebook, I don't do Facebook.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, here's your plug.
So, I mean,
We put a lot of information out there.
90% of our residents don't do Facebook, or do Facebook. It makes me wonder, how would you get the word out? If you were to take, maybe during a council meeting, if you took a 5-minute update, well, you're probably always talking about Band-Aids, but if you were to mention in a public meeting that this kind of thing goes on where you're doing infrastructure planning, and this can happen, so as you say, when we started to think about doing.
Well, watch the next council meeting. We'll have, we actually have it as on the agenda for an update on our phase 3 of our SRF, which will include the final phase, which is actually what they call it CIPP, which is lining of our sewer lines. That these are lines that are typically we would have to dig up and replace, but instead of doing that, they take a sleeve and put inside of them and cure it in place. It blows up, rehardens, and basically it turns that old clay pipe into a brand new poly pipe and gives it another 30 years of life.
Mechanical and structural things, or some people would be interested in.
Yeah.
I just think if the public knows the thoughtfulness that goes into keeping the community functioning, that kind of thing, is really good.
Yeah, we could do, you know, a report, you know, as a staff update to the council, kind of talking about what we just kind of summarized. And, we can follow it up with the SIP. I would agree, our opportunity here is about, it's not just communicating one time, it's continuous communications. And part of the thing that we're trying to set up to is this understanding that we are trying to save money in City of Sturgis for long-term projects, and that we do have some challenges and opportunities in the future that we're gonna have to address. But it's always better to get your headlights out and start planning it for it now. And so part of that, setting that condition and that environment with our public is kind of understanding our infrastructure and some of the challenges we have right now and the things that we're doing, to be able to continue providing those services. And so that kind of builds that, to a crescendo where we know that at some point we're going to have those kind of investments. So you're absolutely right, Tom. I think we could try to communicate more effectively on what those challenges are, but what those opportunities lead to.
Not inferring that you're not communicating, just that you stay proactive. And with all the new construction and water lines and stop diverting of traffic and things, but when you make the effort to let the public know that you're in this preventative thoughtfulness that goes on, I think that says a lot.
Yeah, I didn't think that we're not trying to communicate, but I think we can always improve in our communications. And when I think about communications too, from at least at this organization level, is that, our communication is trying to lead to something, right? We're trying to either educate or we're trying to provide information that sets the conditions for some future kind of spending, either through our budget or our comprehensive plan or our capital improvements plan and those type of things, and build some consensus within our community on those more larger capital improvement projects.
Do you suppose that having, as you use the word educate, would it be helpful to have, say, some sessions that maybe the library holds, inviting people to come down and learn about the proactive planning that the city people are doing to keep our community safe? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, I think any of those opportunities would be helpful, Tom. I think sometimes the challenge is that, the turnout for those things in the past have been relatively small, and you don't necessarily reach a lot of people. It's usually the ones that are somewhat have an interest in that. So, but I do think that's a component of it. I think when we look at our messaging, it's kind of trying to hit all the messaging means that you can hit, the SIP. When we talk on the radio, like for example, on KBHB last time, I talked about the Safe Streets for All, trying to get people to have, understand that project is going on, this assessment of understanding risk in terms of transportation with the city, and that we have people that are actively working on that right now, but we also need public input to be able to kind of finalize, understand what those problems are. So that's just one example of trying to expand that to other types of opportunities for the city of Sturgis to have that kind of communication. So it's not just one, shoot one bullet. It's trying to shoot a lot of different ones to be able to reach out. Because as you guys point out, not everybody's on Facebook. So I think we do a pretty good job on Facebook. When there's a water line break, that's out relatively quick. Goes through the Public Works Facebook presence. Deb Holland also puts it onto the city one. And it's trying to communicate that there's going to be a service break, and here's what we're, providing updates. But it also provides pictures and kind of see what those challenges are. But again, not everybody's on Facebook. And so it's about trying to find those means of communications that will reach the vast majority of the people and have an understanding of what's going on.
Certainly the radios, as you mentioned, the radio is a great resource.
They follow us pretty closely, as does most of the news channels.
Get Home Slice to include a community update.
It's too bad we don't have the past, right? That.
Yeah, and the only, the downside to the papers is it's past tense. We're trying to, which is good. There's a model for that, but again, when we're talking about water, we're trying to give as most accurate, up-to-date information that, again, how does it affect you?
Hey, Rick, obviously we have Facebook's kind of a blast to everybody, but if we have a neighborhood that we know that they're going to use Code Red. So that's another, I don't know if you guys are aware of the Code Red communication. So that
Once we determine the area, we can do it citywide, we can narrow it down to the affected area, which is typically what we do. We'll put together as much information as we can, determine what that area is, and then we will this program pulls anybody that's within that geo fence, and if we have a phone number, a text message, an email account, whatever, it will call your landline, and give you that up-to-date information that, hey, you know, there's a disruption in your water service, we anticipate having it restored by this time. We use that. That's a program that we subscribe to, that we pay for, that we use, and we can use it for water breaks, for emergency snow situations, I mean, we can use it for whatever, and we do
When was the last time that has been used?
on Nellie Street.
Okay. And so it only went to that area?
In those instances, we try to keep it to the area affected. It's been quite a while, probably last year sometime during a snow event where we've sent something citywide. The other thing that it now does, they upgraded their platform, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever traveled anywhere, or even, you don't see it so much around here, but there's a setting on your phone that if you're in an area where there's an alert, like an Amber Alert or something, your phone will go off, or severe weather, this program will pull on that too. So if you had somebody, your kids were in town visiting, they would get that note if that feature is on their phone, they would get that alert as well.
Remember, we would have those emergency things would come. Who ran that for the city? And we signed up for it, and they would give us that.
Code Red.
That's what it is.
That's what we're talking about.
The
Yep.
one,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
same one.
It's a different platform, and I would encourage you, if you have not, and we did a piece on this, to go out and sign up for that if that's something that interests you, to ensure that we have
Who do we?
accurate.
contact?
You can get on the city website, and actually on the homepage, there is a link that says sign up. Let me pull it up here. That says sign up for Code Red. We just launched that here in the last 30 days
Okay,
and so if you go to the literally go to the homepage of the city website, there is right here this Code Red, and it will walk you through setting up for those
There's a link.
notifications.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but it makes me, when you mention education, there's so many things that you do to protect the city and the citizens. The school system, the grade school comes to mind. Would that be helpful to have the city present a program or something with the school system that lets the little kids know what the city's doing for them?
I mean, we participate like Carrie and Deb will, I think it's next week, we'll be out at the career days. So we do take opportunities as far as, I mean, our message has to fit our audience, and I'm not sure, that grade school kids are really concerned with what
Well,
we're,
can just
I mean,
remember, as a person going around learning about Smokey the Bear.
yeah.
Fires, and ambulances and everything like that.
Todd's not near as cool as Smokey the Bear. But, yeah, and that's why we generally, I mean, there's a lot of things through the course of the year where we take opportunities to, every year we bring a group of, 60 elementary kids who have chosen to come from, every year they choose to want to come to our wastewater treatment plant from Rapid City, and we give them a tour. And believe it or not, over going to Deadwood, excuse me, and other places, they enjoy that, and it's become we've been doing it now since we built the plant, and the teacher every year, she is adamant, hey, we got to get on the calendar to bring the group of kids keeps growing and growing and growing. We go to the Kiwanis and talk to them. Every opportunity we participate in the Touch a Truck events, things like that, because again, getting them there is one thing. Once they're there, now you have a captive audience to tell these other things.
The ideas of annexation, why be part of the city? Oh, it's just more cost to us. We don't want to be part of the city because they would charge us fees and do all this, but
Tom, what I could do, I can get with Wayne Wormstad and kind of explore that idea. Maybe not necessarily down to the tactical level on, putting in pipes and whatnot for that grade school or high school. But, part of the citizenship, understanding the workings of a municipality, safe streets, public safety, the library, everything that comprises of a municipality to be successful and what that operation looks like from a more broad picture. Maybe there's some value, and I can talk with Wayne if that's something within the school systems that, I joke about it, but it was the truth that, back in 2021 when I ran for a seat on council, one of my justifications was I knew what was going on across the world based on being in the military for a long time, but I really had no idea what was going outside my front door. And just having an understanding of the workings of our municipality is something, I've learned a lot of, obviously, over the last, 5 years. But just to even have a broad understanding of that, I didn't really even have that kind of understanding as an adult, just 5 years ago. So maybe there is an opportunity to educate not just, school kids, but just public in general in terms of, rise of the municipality, the services that we provide, and some of the opportunities, the challenges, those type of things.
I love what you just said, Aaron. That's really great. And even from the school perspective, public school, when public school educates and expands that kind of knowledge and sharing, that's another reason why public schools are valued. So it might be a win-win for the school and for the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the kids might be able to educate their parents on how to get to some of these websites and things. Seriously, we started doing this, but they might be the ones that say, hey, we learned about that in school, and this is where you go.
Yeah, and maybe even from a campaign perspective is that, I'm not a huge Facebook person either. You hardly ever see any posts from me. But I do, I subscribe to City of Sturgis, Public Works, and some other types of things that are of interest to me, and those things pop up into my feeds. So even though you may not necessarily be a Facebook person or a social media person, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to engage with it, but just use it for information flow for those things that you want to be able to have information on. So maybe there's an opportunity for people to, get those kind of accounts and more for information flow. We still doesn't mean we should just put all our eggs in one basket. We probably should look at across all the different communications means that exist to be able to try to communicate across all the demographics within our community and how they receive information, but also encourage people to be able to, have information pushed to you versus trying to always pull it.
See, Todd, what you started by standing in front of us with a
Oh, yes, and with that, I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions for me, so I can go back over there.
I just want to say it's been exciting. It's been great to be on this, to realize the depth of knowledge and expertise that you all have to keep this community safe, and I want to compliment you on that.
Well, thank you.
So to get us back on track, thanks, Todd. We talked a little bit about water, excuse me, a little bit about sewer. I guess one of the third utility that we have from the city is sanitation, garbage. It's a good segue into that. Just to give you guys an update, we will be presenting a final report or a report update to the council on March 2nd. in regards to, we've been looking at what and how our sanitation department can become more effective and more efficient. One of the things that we're looking at is a third-party hauler, and what does that mean to the city? It's important to us that we maintain our high level of service and our integrity, and in doing that, we feel that there are certain advantages that we could, benefits that we could provide by possibly going to a third-party hauler. And what that means is, instead of city crews coming to pick up your garbage weekly, it would be somebody, that's what they do, like a Kiefer Sanitation. That's the business they're in. Part of what we do when we evaluate that is not only the direct cost to the consumer, to the resident, but the indirect costs, which include, equipment, tipping fees. I mean, all of our garbage, of course, as everybody knows, goes to Belfouche. The amount of money that it costs us to take that garbage every day to Belfouche with equipment, trucks, fuel, I mean, it is staggering. And if we can take those resources, those funds, and apply them somewhere else where we can increase what we do, increase our abilities for the customer, provide a better service, or a service that we're currently not providing is in everybody's best interest, while maintaining our existing rates. I mean, we're not looking at passing anything on to the residents, but if we can maintain the same rates and provide better, more efficient services, that's a win for everybody. And that helps keep our overall, when we talk about our utility bill, and again, what we're really talking about with the Municipal Utility Board is inclusive of all utilities. This isn't just the water board. This is the utility board is looking at more of a holistic vision on our utilities and what we can do, what services we provide, how well we do it, and we're always looking at ways to increase. And preventative maintenance is one thing that's always on our mind for water and sewer, because again, that creates better efficiencies, lowers the cost for everybody. But when we talk about garbage, some of the things we're talking about, I mean, the amount of time and energy we spend on keeping our trucks safe and on the road and able to go to Belfouche sometimes multiple times a year is tremendous. So by taking that and reducing that for the city is good for the city, it's good for the residents, it's good for the Public Works Department. So continually evaluating those things, and without sharing too much, we are in that evaluation period, and it's looking favorable, where we will be able to do some things in the future that will provide better services for our residents. And again, we anticipate having that ready to roll out and provide to the council at a council meeting, the first meeting in March. From there, we'll get direction from the council on what they want to see done, if they're in alignment with what staff's recommendations are. We will probably proceed and roll something out along those lines. In addition, other considerations we have when we go through this is our special events. I mean, rally's a big one, right? I mean, we're talking 800 tons of additional garbage during that 10-day, 14-day period. I mean, that's monumental. I mean, so again, we don't take this lightly, and we're not trying to push off what we do onto somebody else. We want to have and I think that goes to show Public Works, we don't like to fail. So we're going to make sure that we have a program, and we have plan Bs and plan Cs, and make sure that we have the ability to do everything that we need to do, both for our visitors and for our residents. So something to be on and I know, Tom, you had asked a little bit about it. we are working diligently on putting that plan together and would anticipate having something to present in the first week of March.
So Rick, I'm kind of relieved that it's not this board that has to listen to your proposal first and then suggest to the council. You're gonna take this to the council, and then what the council decides, then that's what we interact with. Is that right?
Well, I guess, Rick, I'll ask you a question is, in terms of if we move forward with that agreement and having a third-party garbage collection and recycling collection, is that something that needs to go through MUB first?
No, I mean, the way that we're moving, I mean, the MUB, that your guys's, ask is to make recommendation to the council on utility rates. No different than in water or sanitary sewer. I mean, you guys don't typically get into the operations. I mean, the legislative body is the council, when it comes to ordinances that define the operations. This would be a complete change of operations. I mean, the council is the body. I mean, we've been talking to you guys certainly for several months now on this, so I don't, and I hope you don't feel like you're in the dark on it. But ultimately, I mean, the council would make that decision. Nobody can make that decision but the council.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, the rate, like I said, if it had something to do with like, hey, and in the future, of course, we're gonna have a contract structured that would protect us on rate increases, and if we anticipate from them, whatever, a 4% increase this year, that will then come back to you and say, hey, we're anticipating, they've let us know there's gonna be a 4% increase. We've gotta somehow cover that 4% increase. But it kind of the same as we get that now from our hall tickets at Belfouche. I mean, they raise the rates of what it costs to dump per ton. I mean, those rates continually go up every year. And again, that's part of what we present to you guys when you guys are considering and making the recommendations to the council on what those utility rates should be. And not so much this year we held it to the same, but if you recall, the prior year, and I believe all three of you were on it, I mean, we did a 5% increase. And I know Bernadette, you had a lot of concerns on it, but again, we're trying to cover those operational costs that are being passed on to us from, which would be our third-party hauler, our third party where we have to take our garbage to. So again, there's a component of this board in everything we do, but ultimately, when it comes to those final decisions, is certainly the city council.
yeah, and I wasn't advocating that was your guys' responsibility, but one of the things that, and Tommy, you and I have had this conversation about committees and boards and commissions in the city of Sturgis, and historically, those have been where we vet things, right? We vet opportunities, we look at problems, kind of understand what that problem is, what the opportunities, the solutions might be. And information kind of flows from those committees as recommendations, maybe defining the problem up to the legislator, our council, to make decisions. So again, as Rick's pointed out, I think pretty good job of communicating with you, just because you guys have been a part of this when it comes down to the rates and just utilities in general. So I would be interested in your thoughts. Is this something you think makes sense? Again, Kevin, Mayor Forster's objective has always been, how do we improve services, but at the same time capture efficiencies that we can sustain long term? One of our challenges is that the cost is always going up. Personnel costs, construction cost, material cost. And, we're a city of, 7,200, and we're pretty static. We have a little bit of increases coming up in property taxes. We do continuously have increases in our sales tax, but that sales tax increase is probably in line with inflation that's going up at the same time. So in terms of purchasing power, where does that sit? And so to be able to ensure that we can prepare for the future, have money available, funds available for future projects, but also continue to operate safe streets and clean streets and all the other services that we provide. We have to be able to make sure that we have enough revenue coming in to be able to support those kind of increases. So this one here kind of fits into that. It may provide better services, and this is not about our personnel. It's about the equipment we have and the resources that they have available to serve our community. You know, I'm a big recycler. I mean, we recycle everything in our house. I have barrels out in my garage that I put stuff into, and then I put it into the back of the pickup, and I take it up to the recycling center to be able to do that. With this contract, that's something that each individual that wants to do that can do that for a relatively low amount, and it's curbside kind of pickup. They also have new trucks or newer trucks. They have cameras on them, you know, to be able to help maintain safe operations and those type of things. So from a service perspective, you know, based on the analysis that Rick and his team has done, there's some things here that might even improve services just based on they have the resources to be able to do it. What we're getting is that it may cost us less money to be able to provide that same service or improve services. You know, one of the upcoming costs for us if we were to maintain status quo is that we have trucks that are towards the end of life, and one at least is at end of life. I mean, they've been putting Band-Aids on that thing for a long time, and to the point right now there's nothing that you can adhere a Band-Aid to. It just can't be fixed anymore. And that's, you know, at least $500,000 to be able to replace that. So it's all about trying to improve services, or at least at minimum maintain services, and at the same time try to gain those efficiencies. So I think this is an opportunity for that.
Fourth order effects too, and again, when we're looking at a bigger picture of it, I mean, it's not always immediate, hey, is this the best for the customer? I mean, we're looking at it from a city too, and what I mean by that is a second order effect of doing this, and by not having a sanitation fleet, is the amount of hours that my mechanics and my fleet division are free to work on other things, because we're not maintaining the garbage trucks. And again, we got to maintain them to a level that they're safe and efficient to travel to Belfouche. And I mean, the amount of tires we put on garbage trucks, because they're constantly turning, they're loaded, it's astronomical. And again, not to have that frees up for other things and other efficiencies. And as Aaron alluded to, you know, one of the things that we're considering is some opt-in, opt-out programs. And not everybody, not all of our residents in the city of Sturgis actively recycle or use our recycling. And again, we can't maintain the level of our exit 32. We know, and I mean, we get the calls, Amy takes them daily, that there's people from outside of the community that heavily use our facilities that our residents are paying for and using our resources. So again, by going to an opt-in, that if you want to, Aaron, if you want to recycle, does it make sense for you to have that ability and have it curbside where you don't have to take anything? And are you willing to pay $5 or $6 a month to have that service curbside? I think that's a pretty economical trade-off for doing that. And again, we're not saying you have to do that. You choose if you want to do that. We could look at, you know, by not picking up garbage daily, there's other programs we could entertain if the council decides that's important. I mean, a yard waste, again, opt-in, opt-out. If you want us to come pick it up curbside, you know, it's $5 or $6 a month to do that. I mean, those type of things. Maybe we can have our landfill open, or our rubble site open 7 days a week versus, you know, again, for me, the weekends are when I want to use it, but it's not during the weekday, and so we're limited to one shorter day. Maybe we can expand those services by not doing this piece. That's what we're trying to evaluate, is what more can we do and what can we do better by not doing this. And some of the money we're saving enables us to do other things with those resources. So we're really, again, we're looking at a bigger picture of what are the impacts of it, not just, you know, to the end user.
Rick, I think I just heard you say you could opt in to recycle or not. So if I have a blue trash container that's the recycle container, I've opted in for that, is my utility bill gonna go up $5 a month?
If you opted in and again, got on the I mean, so we would have to create a list of people who have opted in, and then we provide that. So billing wise, nothing changes. Your utility bill still comes from the city, regardless, and every month, you know, the third-party hauler would bill the city and we would pay them. And, but yes, if you opted in and decided you want that, you would get a work order would be made. They would bring you the appropriate, container for those recyclables, and you would then go on their list of, hey, we have a pickup at this address, one at this, I mean, it wouldn't be, they're just not gonna drive down the street and pick up everything. I mean, it's gonna be if you're a participant in it, then yes, and then that would be added to your monthly bill.
You know, I'm gonna sneak over to my neighbors in the night and drop my bottles off in their container.
Yeah, I mean, generally what we see on the totes is, you know, most people pull them out curbs. I mean, I don't think we have that near as much as what we have in the larger 300 gallon. I mean, the personalized 90-gallon totes, I don't think we have that, but if a couple neighbors wanted to get together and split the cost, and I mean, I think those are all viable things that
Yeah,
could
and-
happen.
In other communities that have this third-party garbage collection do have that same program. I would say probably 10 to 20% participate in that program. I would hope it would be more than that. When I was stationed overseas back in the early 90s, I mean, I got pretty used to living in Germany where everything was curbside on recycling. This is back in the early 90s, had different color bags. It was actually relatively easy. So for me, you know, paying $5 or $6, whatever that amount will be, I'm probably saving stuff because of all the stuff that I do and going up, getting gas and whatnot to be able to do that. So to me, it'd be a convenience. So,
And we're not recreating, I mean, again, talking to these, when we put out the RFP, it was very important for us that whoever the third-party vendor is, that they had a repertoire or a history of doing and providing these services. So the ones that we're looking at are doing this in other communities, you know, Blackhawks, Box Elders, Rapid City, Lee Deadwood, Spearfish offers a certain portion of, I mean, we're probably one of the only communities that doesn't have some sort of third-party hauling, whether it's recyclables or whatnot. I mean, where we do it 100% all of it. So, again, learning from them, a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of back and forth to make sure that we have a good, solid plan that you know, I'm sure there'll be some things that we inadvertently don't think of, but from their side of having done it and what we envision this to be, I think we've checked all the boxes and covered all the pieces of it. Because again, like I said earlier, last thing that we want to do is fail. So we're not going into this half-heartedly or lightly. That's why, I mean, at some level, there had been anticipation that we would start this, you know, at the beginning of the year. And again, we're being fairly cautious and making sure we would rather it be delayed or to make sure that we've thought of everything. Again, it's not necessarily gonna see any difference from the customer as far as the billing. I mean, that's all gonna remain the same. The city will still be the initial point of contact. Tom, if you call and say, geez, you know, the wheel fell off of my tote or the lid, we will still derive the work order. It will just, instead of going to our crews, go to theirs. They have a 24-hour, you know, response time that's a part of the contract. No different than that's generally what we're gonna have. I mean, even if we're doing it here in-house, I mean, we can't, sometimes we can react quicker, but not always. So, again, we're trying to minimize any adverse effects to anybody.
Excellent. I Anything else from Public Works?
No, I don't think so. I think, we've taken up enough of the, morning for you guys.
So any old business,
I don't have any.
any new business? Other matters that may come before the board?
Yeah, I might just take just an opportunity to, talk about our strategic plan. Black Hills Council of Local Governments, we are on their schedule to initiate the comprehensive plan later this year. And I bring that up to you specifically because, from a comprehensive plan, there's a huge, infrastructure, capital improvements component to that process in terms of where we're at, where we want to be. So, as we get into the as we try to understand what our current environment is, what those problems are, what the risk, the threats, and what also those opportunities are. You guys would probably play a good role in that with your guys' understanding, and particularly looking at it from a utilities perspective. So, something to just be aware of, that as we get later into the year and early into next year, the first thing is just understand our current situation, the good, the bad, and the ugly aspects of it. And then based on that, then we can start looking at solutions. But I would absolutely look forward to having your guys' involvement in that process.
I'm gonna be gone all next year.
That looked like Tom was forming a question, sorry. Thank you. No need for an executive session. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Yep.
Yep.
Next month, our meeting date would be the 24th.